stripping membranes. I always think that stripping membranes sounds kind of gross. I just gotta say it. And when I explain it, it might seem kind of gross, but it's a topic that often comes up, usually near the end of pregnancy. Some providers, if they're going to have a conversation about stripping membranes, that's when it happens. Okay, so first of all, to the anatomy of what's going on with stripping membranes. Now, I have stripping membranes on this list. It can also be referred to as sweeping membranes. So just know they're both the same things. So what that means is your care provider does an exam. So does a vaginal exam, usually with 2 fingers, into your vagina up to your cervix. Now, in order to strip or sweep membranes, you have to be somewhat dilated. So your cervix needs to be somewhat opened. And then what they will do is remove, if this is your cervix, the provider will remove the membranes that are attached between the amniotic sac and the top of your cervix. And so that's why there needs to be a little opening or a little dilation in the cervix in order to reach that part of where the sac is on the cervix. Now, you might be asking, if you don't know, what does that mean? Like, why would one want to do that? Well, what providers have found that if you sweep the membranes or strip the membranes, sometimes that can sort of, I don't want to say trick your body into going labor, but almost to induce labor. A natural method to induce labor sometimes can be stripping the membranes or sweeping the membranes. Now, there's a few things to know about this. I don't want to make it sound like that's a surefire way to go into labor, to induce labor, because it is very often the case that it does not produce labor, lead to actual labor. Sometimes it can start some crampiness, some contractions that eventually become a labor pattern that turns into labor, but sometimes it can cause some like uncomfortable back pain and maybe an extended early phase of labor. So it's not necessarily the magic secret thing to do to go into labor, into an effective labor pattern. However, if you are looking for options to naturally induce labor and wanting to avoid maybe a medical induction with a synthetic drugs like Cytotec or Cervidil or Pitocin, then you might want that option. So it's definitely an option to talk about with your care provider. There are a few risks with sweeping the membranes. The main one being that your provider could accidentally rupture your membranes or break your water. And more information about water breaking is in the video that I will link to right here. But because they are, touching the membrane, touching your sac of water, sometimes it is more rare that this happens, but that could happen, that the water can break, your membranes can rupture during a sweeping of your membranes. And anytime you have a vaginal exam, there is the opportunity for infection, though very low. This is a low risk, but it is a risk that you could talk to your care provider about if you are wanting to know more about stripping or sweeping your membranes. So it is a way to naturally induce labor, a method that is sometimes effective, sometimes not, and definitely comes with risk. The last thing I want to mention is that if you are someone who you know that this is not something that you are interested in, make sure that if you have a vaginal exam, in your late weeks of pregnancy, like a 38, 39, 40, 41, 42 week of pregnancy, if your provider is doing a vaginal exam, if you know that that's not something you want to do, have your membranes swept or stripped. Make sure that you let your provider know before they do the vaginal exam, because they might assume that you would like it done, or they might not know your preferences. So it's just good to communicate preferences and talk about options with them and get their recommendations too, so you can figure everything out. If you found this video helpful about sweeping the membranes, please give it a like so that more people can find it, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and you will get notified when the next big Wheel of Birth video is loaded. Thanks guys, have a great day, bye.